another long day. It's still not quite the end of my work week. I work Saturday as well. I've got 2 little bits of work to do tomorrow, so Fridays are a pretty exhausting day for me, but I decided to suck it up and put on a show. I'm not going to have the time to do a game review of a famous game today. I don't have the energy to put that kind of work into it tonight. So instead we will take a look at some classic Trout, okay? Classic Trout games. And we'll also take viewer requests for for games. So we will do a little bit of that stuff. I'm just get up one more board here. Get my live games. There we go. Hey, Schwobi, I'm supposed to be live. Am I not live? Supposed to be live. Can you hear me okay? Hello? Hey, Chess is making a splash. What? I just get followed by Chess? Is that like chess.com? Wow, cool. Thank you, chess.com. Very nice. And nice to see you here. Welcome to the Trout Show. Thank you for being here. So guys, I have a special event going on tomorrow. I don't even know if I should call it a special event. I'll talk about it a little bit more as we go on. But there's a streamer in the community who's making some contributions to charity. He'll be making all of his entire month of contributions to a charity for the month of March. So I'm going to be doing a stream, and I've decided to contribute in what small way that I can. Not that's much of a contribution, but and I will contribute something out of my own pocket as well. But I'm going to contribute the proceeds of my show tomorrow towards this charity of choice of this streamer, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on. So if there's a day that you guys were thinking of subbing, I think tomorrow would be a really nice day instead of today. So if you're on the bubble about that, tomorrow would be a great time to do that, and we can raise some money for this charity of this streamer's choice, who's a good friend of all of ours, and you guys might know who I'm talking about, but I'll get into a little bit more of that later on. So that will be tomorrow night. Today we're going to take a look at some classic Trout. Some classic Trout, folks. So let's get into one of these games. We've got a game that I played in the 2005 Canadian Open. Now, I know that Eric Hansen was there. He was still just a kid. He was still lower rated than me at this point in time. I remember him and Keith McKinnon and trying to think of some of the other folks. Oh, Schwobi coming in with a raid. Oh, that's what Schwobi was asking if I was live. Coming in with a raid. Thank you, Schwobi, for that raid. What is up? Making the candy corn dance. Thanks for being here, Schwobi. I thought that you were going off, so I ended up splitting there, but I don't know. Did I just misread that? But I thought that you were going off, and then as I was prepping my stream, I came on and I saw that you were still there, and I thought, oh, okay, well, I thought maybe you were getting into a tech talk, which I always enjoy, and I missed that. So at any rate, thank you for that raid. So I remember the 2005 Open. So I had met Eric Hansen like maybe the year before, or maybe it was even that same year, earlier in the year. He was 9 years old, and I've told this story before about how we played in the same tournament. I think he scored 4 points. I got 3.5. My rating at the time was over 2,000. His was maybe 17, 1,800, something like that. And I know that he went over 1,900, maybe even over 2,000 that tournament. So he was already super talented. I saw him a few years later in 2007 at the Canadian Open in Ottawa, and he crashed on my couch one night there, the last night before his plane took off. And then next time I saw him a few years later, he was already at 2,500, so in 2010. So at this point in time, he was still just a young punk, and much like today, he wanted to get in as many games as he could against stronger players. So I was able to get some good games in with Eric and maintain a winning record, which I hope to take to my grave someday against Eric Hansen. Who would have known he would turn out to be this great grandmaster? But the first tournament that I met him at, I remember that he lost the one game. I think it was to Nandor Todd. He was like a 2,100, 2,200 plus player. And Eric shows me this certain endgame position where it looks like he's getting crushed, and he plays a move and loses, and he says, I analyzed correctly during the game, I analyzed the draw, but for some reason I was scared to play it, I played this wrong move, and that was the only game I lost. And I looked at the position and I said, I don't know, buddy, you think you can win this? Like, you're totally lost, like, how can you draw this? He's like, no, I analyzed it. He's like, show me, I'll prove it. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just play this move over here. No, I've got this, click, click, click. I'm like, oh yeah, it was like 2 passed pawns and a rook. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh yeah, you're right, that is a draw actually. And I'm like, well then I'll just push this other pawn. No, I've got this. Click, click, click. We went through about 3 or 4 variations. Eric Hansen at 9 years old had analyzed this line perfectly. He was absolutely correct. He totally out-analyzed me. And I knew right there and then that Eric Hansen was going to be special. I didn't know how special, but I knew he was not going to just be some run-of-the-mill, local prodigy. I knew he was going to make the big time, which he did. So it might have been the same year. For certain, he was in this tournament. This was the Canadian Open 2005. This game took place on July 16th. This was in the 6th round. This was in the 9th round. And I remember I won this game to go to 6-3. And I was playing in the last round to just stone cold win my section. And I lost the last round game. And I think I ended up tied for first or something like that in my section. Shobi says, yeah, I was getting off just babbling a bunch. Gotcha, buddy. Gotcha. Yeah, it's always nice to catch a little bit of the Schwobi show, and I don't know why you play so much better against me than everybody else. I mean, I think what I'm just going to do against Schwobi is just, like, make random attacks that don't make any sense. Maybe if I just, like, attack his pieces, he'll make blunders and forget. Because he seems to make all these really atrocious blunders when he's streaming against other players, and then he plays me and he's like a GM. Schwobi always plays me tough, man. Schwobi gets a lot of winning positions against me, guys, and he's beaten me multiple times. Guys, don't sleep on Schwobi, man. The guy can play some chess. The man can play some chess. I'll tell you that right now. Alright, let's get into this game, guys. So, I'm playing the white side. My opponent plays the move G6. At this point in time, I was playing this move myself. Oh, Schwobi comes in with 10 biddies. Thank you, Shore. I really appreciate that. I always like having you here, Schwobi, and those little biddies add up. I really do appreciate those an awful lot. So, because I played this as black, now at this point in time, I owned a copy of Fritz 11, which was my chess Bible. It was my database. It was my, it was my study aid. It was my computer for analysis. I think maybe Ribka was already existed, or maybe it was just about to come out. So there were other programs that I could have used, but I was really into Fritz 11. I really enjoyed the chess-based software, okay? So because I played this opening myself, I played this a lot against Fritz, and I learned some lines, and I began to play them myself as white, because I found them so vexing as black. And so I played a line that I learned from Fritz against Justin Gulati, who, as you can see here, was rated 21-22 at the time. It's about 150 points higher rated than me, so he should be expected to win this game, but I should also win some games against a player of this caliber. So I played knight c3, d6. So for those of you who might be new, the idea of playing the modern defense, it's very similar to a Peart's defense, which starts with e4. Let's just go to that for a quick second here. Go to the analysis board for a quick second. So for example, after e4, d6, d4, knight to f6, knight to c3, g6. This is a Peart's defense. And there's a lot of similarities between these two lines, but one critical issue is that this knight is already committed to the f6 square, where in the modern defense, like in this position, it has not. That means there's extra opportunities. c5 is a possibility, e5. The knight may not go to f6 at all. It might go to h6. It might go to e7. And there's also the possibility of playing h5 in some lines. So it's a little more flexible, and it means that there's more things you have to be aware of as you're building your center as white against a hypermodern variation, which is any kind of an opening where you try to use pieces from the outside to attack your opponent's large center that you allow them to build. You have to be aware of that your opponent has extra options to try to collapse your center. And so I played the move h3, and this is the line that I learned from Fritz. And this is the reason why I played this line, because I knew I was playing a higher rated player, and I wanted to get into a position that was not too ambitious, but I wanted to take my fair share of the center. So by playing h3, I'm preparing knight to f3. And I'm making it very difficult for this bishop, this so-called bad black bishop, to figure out where it's going to land. It's going to have a tough time going any place safely. Why is it the bad bishop? The queen's bishop is generally considered the so-called bad bishop. The main reason is because it's most likely that you're going to have to make a pawn move to release your kingside bishop. Your kingside bishop will have very easy squares to attack in the direction of the opponent's king, which will probably castle on the king side, generally speaking. And so it often happens that this bishop, this queenside bishop, doesn't know exactly where to go, because wherever it goes, it's going to be attacking something on the queen side, assumedly in a place where your king will not be. So that means it will not lead to a decisive attack, like a bishop on c4 or a bishop on c5, where these bishops potentially can attack the weak points right off at the start of white's position, or of your opponent's position. These two pawns here being the two weakest points at the start of the game. Okay, so h3, and my opponent immediately plays the move a6, so he's already aware of this. He's already aware he's going to have troubles with his bishop, so he's playing a6 to prepare the move b5, and then he intends to play bishop to b7, and then when the timing is right, he may choose to push his pawn to b4, which means that my knight is going to get chased around the board. Hey, Max is Bad is in the house. What is up? How you doing today, sir? And welcome anybody who's hanging around and lurking on the Trout Show. I greatly appreciate having you guys here. We had a follow and a stop in by Chess, which was quite nice. Nice to see Chess TV making a pit stop. I'm on the way home, so I'm just lurking for a while. Sure, Max, that's cool. We'll be on for a little while. We're going to take a look at some viewer games, so let me know if you have a cool game that you want to take a look at. Shwobi, same thing, or anybody that's out there. In the meantime, we'll take a look at some of these so-called classic Trout games. As I have a little sip of my... oh, Max is Bad just subscribed. Oh, Max, I should have said it. Damn it. What should I do here, guys? Maybe I should make it the 2 shows. You know what, guys? Maybe I should make it the 2 shows. Let me do this. Okay, Max, thank you so much for that sub. The reason I say that, Max, is not because I'm not thankful for that sub. The reason is because as I sip from the Harlemknite mug, my beautiful Harlemknite mug, I was mentioning earlier in the show I wanted to wait till more people came in, but I've decided to do a show to donate a little bit of just one single stream of my Twitch income towards a charity event that Harlemknite is putting on for the month of March. He's intending to give an entire month's income towards a charity for a specific illness that his wife is afflicted by. Now, I don't really know anything about it. I don't even know how to pronounce the word correctly. And I'm going to try to find it somewhere and look it up, but it's really not my bag, it's his, and he's going to explain more about how it's affected him and his family. It's a difficult thing when you suffer any illness, but when you suffer an illness where you're suffering and people don't really know what you're going through, that's especially, I think, a difficult situation to be in. And I think it's very brave of Harlem and his wife to do this, to share that knowledge about what they've been through and to donate some money to this charity. This is not for them. This is to donate to a charity to help find a cure. And so I would like to make what small little contribution I can by donating a stream's worth of donos, bits, and subs, any income that I get from a stream towards the charity that Harlem and his wife are donating their income to for the month of March. You know, it's a small sacrifice, but I do make my living off of chess, so Twitch is a part of my income, and I think that's what charity is. I think it's when you make a sacrifice because you realize there's other people that are in a situation where they don't have the choice whether to sacrifice. There's something taking place in their life that they don't have control over, and so that's something they have to deal with. So when we make a sacrifice, we're saying we want to share a little bit in some small way, not only in your pain, but in the joy of finding a cure. So in light of that, what I might just do, I mean, maybe I can just donate the 2 shows, because I would hate for a bunch of people to come in and make subs today and then find out tomorrow that I was doing a show and donating that money to charity. So if there is anybody that's thinking of donating, please feel free to leave that off until tomorrow. Or if you want to donate today, maybe we can just donate that as well, and just make it the 2 streams. Yeah, just to give something back to the community. Okay. Sacrificing in exchange for positional compensation is easy. Sacrificing your children's well-being for failed chess aspirations? Okay. Sacrificing your children's well-being for failed chess aspirations. I don't really know what that means. If you donate, use charity. Yeah, we could do something like that, Schwobi. We could do something like that. But I find it hard to believe anybody would donate and not want that money to go towards a charity. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll find a way to make that, because I just don't want anyone to feel left out, like they wanted to make a donation and then found that they were unable to because of that. So okay, so let's just see how this game goes on. So we got a6, and then we have the move knight to f3. So this is that line that I learned from Fritz 11. And here comes b5. So from this point in time on in the game, I have to be perpetually aware of the possibility of the b4 push. So like, let's say, for example, if I play bishop to e2, bishop to b7, and castles, pretty normal looking moves, all of a sudden b4 comes, and I've got some difficulties where my pawn is under attack. If I just play here, you're just going to nab a pawn. And if I play forward, maybe he can do something like this. Or he could simply play the pawn forward and then do that. Okay. So it's just something that I have to be careful of. I can't just fart around anymore. I have to be a little bit aware of that. And every move for the next little while, I have to be cautious of that. So I did play the move bishop to e2, bishop. And I chose to play here the move e5. So I'm going to try to take advantage of the fact that this knight has not moved yet. I'm going to try to discourage it from going to the f6 square. The problem is, by playing this move, I've now relinquished control over the f5 square. So in some lines, it might be possible for the knight to come to h6 and then springboard to f5. But one of the things that's interesting about this h3 move is it can also act as a springboard for g4. So if I'm in an emergency situation, I might be able to play that as well. Try to chase the knight back to an unfavorable position. So I did play e5. My opponent played the move queen at e7, which I thought was a pretty high quality move. So definitely moves like the knight could be coming up. The pawn push, I can no longer go to the a4 square. So for example, I'm castling and pawn to here. It's difficult to know where to put my knight, but I was prepared for this. I chose to play the move bishop to e3. And my opponent did play b4. I'm not really sure if this is the right move for black. I can understand why black felt tempted to play that. But I was familiar enough with these positions that I was comfortable to regroup my knight. White has a lead in development here. At least I'm certainly not behind in development. I suppose you could count this queen on d7 as being developed. But I've got a good stranglehold in the center. I do have to be cautious of my overextended pawn. In the event of bishop takes, I've got bishop takes, attacking the rook in the corner. So I'll have time to regroup before black can get castled or do anything substantial. So knight to c6. Pawn takes pawn. I'm not really 100% sure if this is the right move in light of my opponent's reply. Maybe I should just immediately regroup. But I do have to watch out. This pawn is under attack. So I took pawn takes, and then I regrouped. Knight to f6, castle. And then my opponent played this move, knight to d5, which was a bit of a shocker to me. Pretty good quality move. Although I do have a temporary half-open e-file. I'm not really sure that this is something that I can activate right now. Like, I've got a lot of pieces in the way. And I really don't want to lose my bishop pair for a knight that a second ago was pretty hemmed in. So it's an unpleasant situation. I chose to make this move with my knight to c4. In the event of knight takes, I was intending to play pawn takes, followed by knight to b6 possibly, or at least having that threat where I thought I could win some tempo to push my e4 pawn. So let's say if knight takes and pawn takes, let's say, I don't know, queen to c7. Maybe I could play e4. Now we really do have some action, this time on the f-file. Guys, you're just taking a look at some classic Trout games. This is the game I played against Justin Gulati. I believe he has another pronunciation for this name, like Jushish. But he's often just referred to as Justin. His rating, you can see 21-22. My rating was 1987 at the time. I had a pretty good tournament overall. I ended up with 6 out of 10 points. I won this game to go to 6-3 into the last round, playing a strong master as black, and gave him a good struggle, but he was a much better player, and that master would eventually go on to become a 2,400 plus player. That was Vladimir Pachenkin, who lives in my town now. And so this was an important game, and I did win some money in this tournament. I won a substantial amount of money. I can't remember the exact amount, 175, 275, somewhere's in that kind of a range. I won a little bit of money from this tournament. This was played in 2005. There were quite a few strong players there. I ended up playing a grandmaster named Sundararayan Kadambi. We looked briefly at his an opening from the game I played against him in my last stream. I also played I think it was a WIM. Her name was Anupama Gokhale. She's quite a famous teacher in India. Wonderful lady. Wonderful lady, amazing chess player. She was so generous with her time and so instructive in going over the game afterwards. She was just a wonderful lady. Really enjoyed that experience. So I played some pretty strong players. So this was my best win of this, or at least my highest rated win of this tournament. So knight to c4. My opponent plays queen to c7, queen to d2. So I'm going to connect my rooks. And my opponent plays the move h6. And here I played the move a3. And I kind of felt that maybe black was going to have to play the move a5 here. Because, for example, like, he can't castle. I don't know. Let's say he plays, I don't know, random move g5. I thought after pawn takes and knight takes, I intended to play c3. And I thought that my position was fairly comfortable here. In an emergency, I've got a place to bring my knight back to. I'll have a half-open a-file. And I felt that this was a respectable position for me. I mean, I'm still not super happy about the fact I'm going to lose my bishop, but I felt that I was pretty sure he had to play the move a5 here. But instead he plays the move f5. It's a very interesting move. Very interesting move. And I don't think I saw the full scope of what he was doing here. There's a possibility of the pawn push in some lines. e5 is a possibility. g5 might be a possibility. It's a weakening move, and black is not castled yet. It makes g6 super weak. And there's still a weakness on h6. So, I don't know. Maybe something like this was possible? Let's see what the computer says. I mean, it does like my position here. And let's just see if that's the move that it likes. It's funny how in retrospect I can spot that kind of quick. It likes knight to h4. But it still says the best move is the move that I thought of, which was pawn takes pawn. So I should have stuck with my original plan. This is a common rookie mistake. They say that the heart of the A-class player is attack. Now, I had been over 2,000 by this point in time, but my rating was a little bit, had dropped a little bit down to 1987, so I was like a borderline expert, you know what I mean? But this is the kind of a move that's not going to get you to become an expert. When you make a plan, it's fine to be flexible. It's great to be flexible. And there's nothing wrong with changing your plan when you come to the conclusion that this is not the best plan available on the board. But what you don't want to do is have a viable plan that's working and then suddenly just swap off and start doing some other crazy thing on the other side of the board. You know, a little bit of this plan, a little bit of that plan. You're not really focusing. You don't have that kind of time in chess because your opponent will zero in on the specific moves that are the most efficient to carry out their plan. And you just sleep for one half move and the game could be over. So I'm making plans on multiple sides of the board. And I end up getting myself into trouble with this bishop to d3. It was the same kind of a concept. I thought, okay, if he pushes this pawn, I've always got this bishop takes. I was prepared to deal with this. I'm stopping the move g5. Now, maybe e5 was playable here. But black had something good and solid and played it here. And I think that what black played was well. Surprisingly, I think it was good, but surprisingly, black is not winning. I made a sub announcement, but it says I still have to buy one. So maybe I got that for free. Maybe I can get a new announcement tomorrow. That's weird. Okay. Maybe it's a refresh or something like that. I've had weird things with like your donos too. Like it always gives me these weird things, Max. I'm never sure if I'm actually getting your donos because it always gives me this like print label option with PayPal. And something like the first time it was like, it gave me this like message like 2 weeks later, and it was like, don't forget to like accept your money from Max's bad. And I'm like, that's weird. You mean I had to accept it? And that you usually just get it in your account. And then I remember thinking, oh man, I hope I'm not like, I hope he didn't have like a big bill to pay today, and I'm taking out his last $10, and now like he's gonna get an NSF. I was kind of nervous about it. So I don't know. Maybe it's because it's Australian money. I did put the Australian money as an option as well in my PayPal, but it's never gone in there. Yeah, I'm sure it's going in there. It's just it's giving me weird messages, and I don't know why it's doing that specifically with your account. I don't know if it's because of where you're from. Okay, good. Yeah, no, but at any rate, yeah, don't worry about that at all. Worst case scenario, you get a free sub. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm certainly not going to complain about that. So, once again, I've missed something critical. I've missed something critical here. And my opponent saw it. So he plays this move, knight takes. Now, I chose to play f takes, which it turns out, believe it or not, is okay because of what proceeds from this position. It's quite a stunning position. That's why I chose this game. But I missed something critical here, and my opponent didn't. I should probably just take this back with the knight. And white is a pretty viable position here. I still have the attack on the b-pawn. I still have a central pawn. My center has not completely been collapsed. There's definitely weakness over here for black. If he castles on the queen side, it's going to be hard for him to utilize the half-open c-file. White's a little bit better here, guys. White's a little bit better. Instead, I chose to play pawn takes, and my opponent goes and plays the move d5. And I suddenly realized that my poor sweet knighty knight has no place to go. My knight is trapped. And so my opponent handles this next little exchange quite nicely, and I was left with a difficult position, and I had to figure out how to survive it. And sometimes that happens in chess, folks. Sometimes you make a mistake, you miss something, and you have to go into like, you know, groveling mode. And that's what happened here. I had to grovel a little bit. So I played the move knight to e5, which is really all I had. You can count the material that there's just not enough defenders for me after pawn takes and queen and oh yeah, pawn takes first, which is a good move. Yeah, I think this is what I thought, that maybe I could take the b pawn first, but of course he plays pawn takes first. Is there anything else for me besides rook takes? No. But you can see that the evaluation is still not so bad for white, right? So I played rook takes. My opponent played pawn takes. By the way, this is a really critical capture. I mean, I just took with the rook because I thought, okay, well, let's get that rook into the action. I knew that after queen takes pawn, I was going to have a super weak e-pawn as well. So I'm going to be down a pawn, plus my pawns are weak. So it wasn't really so much that I was worried about my queenside pawn structure, although that's a factor as well. I just wanted to get my rook into the game. Groveling mode is me every game. They call me the king of draws in the junior chess magazines because of how many swindles I got from discussing positions. Yeah, sometimes you got to do that, Max, and that's a tremendous skill. That's a tremendous skill that gets overlooked in chess. And sometimes it's not even like me. I consider a swindle to be a situation where you're just stone cold losing. But there can be situations where your position is worse, and you just keep on playing to give yourself chances and to not make it any worse, and give your opponent as many chances as possible to go wrong. Over the course of a long game, there's many, many chances for your opponent to go wrong. It doesn't have to be all in one fell swoop like hanging a piece. They can make a small inaccuracy, which leads to another small inaccuracy, which leads to another small inaccuracy. Next thing you know, they're dropping a piece or a pawn, or their position is terrible. So that's how it works sometimes. You got to grovel. You can't just win the games that you're winning in chess. You got to win the games you're losing sometimes. So my opponent did indeed take the pawn on e5, and I went into a pretty deep think here. Now, from the very beginning, I was prepared to give up this e-pawn, which I did. I was prepared to give this e-pawn up. The reason I was willing to give this e-pawn up was because I knew that I had the rook on the line here like this. So I don't know, let's say queen here, and queen takes pawn. I move out of the way. So okay, if pawn here or something like that, then I've got this cheapo. Now obviously 2100 is not going to fall for that. But I was aware that that was an issue. So if nothing else, if I lost this pawn, I was going to get a little bit of tempo. Black is still not castled, and black has substantial weaknesses in this position. So I was prepared to do that if I had to. But the real question was, how do I come up with something that's not just a one-move cheapo my opponent will never fall for? How do I actually make something tenable out of this position? Anybody have any guesses as to what I played here? Hey, Specimen's in the house. What's up, Specimen? How you doing? Any guesses here as to what I might have played in this position? It's me versus Justin. I think his name is actually Ashish. Ashish Gulati. That's what it was. They call him Justin. I'm not really sure where he's from. Excellent chess player. I'm good. Got my coffee. Managed to pop in. So all good. Right on, man. I got my coffee too. It's a late night. I shouldn't be drinking coffee, but if for no other reason than to pump the Harlemknite. As I was mentioning earlier in the show, I don't want to make too big of a deal out of it. I don't really want to make it into a special thing because Harlem has his own thing going on. But Harlem is doing a month of charity fundraising for a certain charity related to a specific disease that his wife is afflicted with. Causes, I mean, he'll talk about it more, and I don't really know much about it, so I don't even really want to discuss it too much. But you can go check out the Harlem show this month to learn more about it. But he's donating all of his bits and donos and subs that he gets this month to this charitable cause, and him and his wife are going to open up a little bit about what they've been through in dealing with this, which I think is really admirable. I think it takes a lot of guts to do that. And so I've decided to donate at least tomorrow night's subs, donos, and bits towards Harlem's charity of choice. So I'm just going to do a regular show like anything else. And I'm sure he'll have plenty of special events during the month to raise some income for that charity. But I wanted to make some small sacrifice. I've spoken to Harlem about this, and he's okayed it, so I will do that tomorrow, and I might donate what I got today as well, just because I don't want people to be caught off guard who come in out of the blue and leave a dono or make a sub or something like that, and then realize that, oh no, if I would have waited one day, then I could have donated to the charity or something like that. So it's a small sacrifice, but I do make my living off of chess. So even if it's $10 or $20 or something like that, I mean, that's what charity is. You're just giving something of yourself, some small amount, because there's no real way to relate to somebody who's going through that. So you're just giving some small sacrifice of yourself to show that you're in solidarity with them, that you're willing to make some small sacrifice by choice, where they don't have that choice. They have to live with what they're dealing with. So, ooh, very nice, making me wish I had some monies to spare. Yeah, no problem. Hey, just coming on and supporting, man, Specimen. Just coming on and showing some solidarity. That's all it's about. And like I said, I don't really want to make a big deal out of it or anything like that. It's not going to be a big contribution. Just a little something to show some support to Harlem and his wife. So, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's what I did. I played the move Queen to B4. Now, in the event of Queen takes pawn after the King moves over, I actually have three substantial threats that Black has to watch out for. I have Queen takes Bishop. I have Bishop, let's say, to B5, check, exposing an attack on the Queen. And I also have the move Rook to E1, where I will now have a double attack on E7 and a mate. So this is a very dicey position. There's no way that Black can take this pawn. So right away, I'm dealing with the first of my problems. I'm down one pawn. My E-pawn sucks. I'm already basically, positionally lost. But because I've got this extra shot, it turns out that White actually has a tenable position. It's actually a playable position. So my opponent plays the move Queen back to C7. To be honest, probably he had to play all the way back to B8. But Queen C7 is still playable. But it's a very tense position, and I don't think Black had any idea when he got into this position here just a second ago, up a pawn and with my position already shattered and his queen in the center. I don't think Black had any idea how much danger was still here. Queen to C7, I played the move Rook to C7, or Rook to C3, sorry. Now you can see the importance of bringing that Rook up into the game. And once again, Black is in pretty serious shape here. I mean, his choices are either Queen to B8, or like what, Bishop to C6? Bishop to C6 and like King to D7 to protect it? I mean, if Bishop to C6 and Queen here and Rook over, can I just do Bishop takes pawn? So probably you got to do this one. And then I'm going to play Rook over to here. I wouldn't want to play this position as Black. Even if there's some miracle defense, I would not want to be in this situation. Maybe Black is just going to be fine here. But I would not want to be like this. In this position. But it's better than what he played. Poor Black had no idea the danger that was going on and played the move Queen to D7. What does White play now, guys? What does White play now? Black doesn't feel fine. No. After taking on E6, surely there's some E4 stuff going on. Absolutely, I would love to play E4. Crack the position open. E4 and just stick a dagger right in his heart. You know what I mean? With my weakened, crappy pawn on E3. So I've turned my weakness into a strength. Now, I'm thinking that Max probably sees immediately what's going on here. But I'm curious how many of you guys spot the move for White. Max's bad says Queen B6 looks annoying and probably winning a piece. Max's bad has got it, and as I knew he would. Queen to B6, guys. Taking advantage of this weakened G6 pawn that took place when Black first played the move F5. But the real danger is I've got Rook to C7. Rook to C7, just winning a piece. On queen takes, I've also got the possibility of bishop takes pawn or rook takes pawn. Black's position is crumbling so quickly, and he doesn't have time to recuperate because of the threat of rook to c7. Look at how fast this game turned around, guys. It started like this. It started with this move d5, an error on my part. I did not recognize that this happened. When he first took my bishop, I had to take back with a knight to avoid this line. After pawn takes and the pawn forward, I've got no place to put my knight. So I put it to e4, knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen take. Pawn takes, rook takes, and queen takes. Look at how quickly this game turns around. From what looks like a dead lost position. This is why you can't lose hope, guys. When you're losing, or when your position is clearly worse, it's time to grovel. It's time to start looking for counter strikes. Time to start looking for swindles. You got nothing to lose. You can't double lose. You're not going to lose any more rating points. So if you lose another piece, whoopity-doo. You lose in 40 moves, 30 moves, 20 moves. A loss is a loss on the score table. But look at how quickly this turned around, guys. 1, 2, 3 moves. Black is completely lost. The game followed as with queen to d6. I played queen takes bishop. King to f7 was played, finally trying to address this weakness over here. Now a couple of pieces on it, connecting the rooks. Maybe black hopes that somehow they can play a rook over to b8 and take my b pawn and then try to pass the a pawn. Maybe black hoped that there would be some sort of a trick like that. I immediately played the move queen to c3. If I was playing this position today, I think I would just be brave and play rook to c6. Sorry, did I say c3? Rook to c6. I would sooner play a move like that, but this move I think was still a little bit of fear, and I was telegraphing that to my opponent that I was respecting his rating and I didn't want to blow this. So queen back to e5. Once again, the attack on the e-pawn. And now I finally get my move, and then Max was talking about e4, like a pair of scissors in the back, like a kick to the chest. e4, turning my weakened pawn into an attacker. Pawn takes and bishop takes. King over to g7. If he didn't, I might be able to play in some lines g4. Maybe not right now, but I could play it if I wanted to right now because the rook's on g3. But yeah, this is an ugly position for black. He's got to get out of the way. The bishop comes back to d3. Now the rook comes over to b8. Once again, trying to take my pawn and run the a pawn, but the damage has been done. I played queen takes, rook takes pawn. And now I've got rook to c6. Once again, the poor g-pawn. No sensible way to defend it. Can't push the pawn. Pushing the pawn forward like this, I'm still gonna just I'm still just gonna check, right? King over here, I'll do this one. King over here, I'll do this one. So black plays the only move to defend it. Plays queen to e6 now. I just walk my king into the corner. Then queen to g5. Rook over to e1. Looking at this position now, am I able to play this queen move? Am I wrong? Why can't I just play this queen move? That looks winning. What did I miss that over the board? What does the position look like after this move? I wonder if it's because if I play... I wonder if it's because if rook over and rook here, if he's got queen f6, is that it? Ah, he does have queen f6. Gotcha. So if rook takes, he's got rook takes. Fair enough. Fair enough. Still winning, but not as clear-cut as what it looks. Okay. So what I played was actually good. I played rook over to e1. I'm attacking the e-pawn, which is guarded by the queen, but the queen is overloaded right now. My opponent really has nothing. plays his rook back, and I played rook takes g6. A nice little shot I was pretty proud of. Unless he wants to lose his queen, he's got to take it. I play rook takes pawn. If the king moves away, I'm going to win a free queen. If he does play this and I play queen takes and king takes, I'm still probably going to play something like this. Pretty easy win. I'm up a whole piece here. Anyways, he brings the queen back. Queen takes, king takes, and bishop takes. My opponent resigned in this position. So that was a fine swindle. My game against Ashish, aka Justin Gulati from the 2005 Canadian Open in Edmonton, Alberta. There were some great players in that tournament. Like I say, Eric Hansen was there, but he was still young. He was still just a lower rated player than me. Who else was there? Vasily Ivanchuk was there. Victor Bologan was there, who at the time Victor Bologan was one of the top players in the world. There was a whole contingent from India. Surya Ganguly was there, and Sundararayan Kadambi, and just a whole bunch of strong players. There was a strong Chinese player. I don't think it was Bu Zhangzi. I can't actually remember who it was. I'm starting to wonder if I'm the only one watching chess streams without actually playing. I got 4 games played on chess.com and still I get a panic attack every time I start one. Do you really? I don't know. I mean, I think I've certainly got friends that come on and watch, and they're just friends of mine that don't play an awful lot and stuff. I mean, the last thing you want is to put yourself in a situation where it gives you anxiety. You know, chess is something for enjoyment and for fun. I don't play a lot of games live on the show anymore because it makes me so irritated to lose games just purely based on time. I don't mind to lose games where I get outcalculated, but to lose games just because I'm an old fart and I don't see so good, that hurts my feelings. You know what I mean? It sucks to give people an inflated sense of self-esteem because they're just faster on the mouse than I am. So I don't play that much online anymore. And tournaments, I mean, I rarely play tournaments either. So the actual amount of chess games that I'm playing in a game in a week right now, specimen is not an awful lot, not compared to like what's been in my past. So I mean, you know, self-care is important. I think just do whatever makes you feel good. And if you can play chess and have fun with it, then by all means do so. And if you prefer to just watch, it's cool too. Now let's see what else we've got here, guys. Let's see what else we've got. Let's see what else I can find out of my bag of tricks. So actually all the games from that Canadian Open are in here, which is kind of nice. There's the Grandmaster I played, 25-24. And here's that female from India I told you guys about, Anupami Gokhale. I can't remember if she was a WFM. I seem to remember she was a WIM. She was a Women's International Master, I believe. Bertrand, with all that set of statements, thank you very much for the game today. Oh, sure, Schwobi. Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, no. I don't mind to play when I'm on somebody else's stream. It's a little less taxing on me. And I only played you 3-minute game, by the way, because I actually thought that you would prefer the faster games. I'm happy to play you any time control you want. I really don't know what your normal is on that show. If you want to tell me, so that the next time I can challenge you to time control you like. But yeah, I'm not too keen on the online chess. Don't get me wrong, I like it, guys. I do like it. It's just for streaming and stuff like that. It's vexing. It's a difficult scenario for me. So. Not my cup of tea. You like the 10 minute, I mean? Max says WGM is 2300. I mean, it's still norms though, isn't it? Max is bad? Even 10 minute feel pretty fast when I'm not relaxed. Yeah, I hear you, Max, exactly. Like, for example, when we play chess tournaments in the local club, it's 90 minutes for the entire game plus 30-second increment. Every move from the start of the game. So we're talking about like 4-hour-long games, guys. Now, if you wanted to play a faster time control, you could play what's called active chess. Active chess is so much faster than regular chess that it has its own separate rating. A whole totally different separate rating system. They are not the same. And the active chess is 25 minutes with, I think, 10-second increment. So the entire game is going to be about an hour or so. That's our fast chess. So like 100% of the chess that you play online is faster than the fastest rated chess that we play at the club. I can only play Blitz well when I'm super chill, because when I tense up and sync time, you tense up and sync time when you're anxious. Gotcha. Yeah. And besides, I mean, who wants to feel anxious, right? Chess should be something that you play for enjoyment. Shobi says, I've never played increment over the board before. Cool. In the old days, we didn't even have increment on our clocks. So that's a fairly new, like when I started playing in tournament chess, Shobi, we didn't have such a thing. Now you can get good quality clocks. Jason Pierre Sweeney, who's going to be playing in his first tournament this month, I believe. And I'm working with him to help him prepare for that tournament. And he just bought himself a DGT clock, which is one of the official FIDE clocks. And it's an excellent quality clock with a lot of preset time controls in it. Specimen says, my clock is cheap, it can't do increments, but I love it anyways. What kind of a clock do you have? In the old days, we had like these like German BHB clocks. And when I say a clock, folks, I mean it was actually a clock. It was a box with real gears and clock mechanisms inside and two clock faces on it. And there was a little like a hand, just like on a clock. And when it would cross the 5-minute mark, there was this tiny little red plastic piece at the top that would just dangle, okay? And it was called the flag. And as the hand went up to the 5-minute mark, it would begin to raise the little red flag. And you would see it going up, and you wouldn't know how many seconds you had left. You just knew that you were getting close when it got up to the end, and you were constantly looking over at the clock face, trying to figure out how much time you had left. And then once it passed 0, that flag would fall, and you would call your opponent's flag, and you would say, "Hi, you ran out of time," right? But I mean, and it had like a winding mechanism on the back. It was awesome. It had little tiny metal buttons, little thin, small, almost hurt your hand metal buttons. And it was a real clock, and I loved them. I loved them. That's the clock you used to play with? Nice, right, Shwobi? I love those. I still miss those. And then there was a special one, okay? There was a special one where it was like a bigger case, okay? And then it still had the red flag, but because it was a bigger face, okay? Like the faces were like about this big, okay? So because it was a bigger face, it had a larger flag, like an inch-long flag. The red flag had a second small flag on it, so that as you lifted it up, when you got to the 1-minute mark, there was a second flag that would start to raise. So you could actually count more precisely in the final minute. That's what we played on, guys. That's what we played on in the chess clubs when I started playing tournament chess. Yeah, 20 years ago at least. Absolutely. I was 17 years old when I started playing. So we're talking 25 years ago in my case. And I recently, what they did was they retired those old clocks, okay, at my club. We're a fairly wealthy chess club because we have charity casinos and grants from the government for sports and recreation. So we actually replaced our clocks years ago with all digitals. So what they did was they had boxes and boxes of these old clocks, and they had little like brass placards on them that said Edmonton Chess Club. So a lot of them were given to a personal friend of mine who was a 2-time Edmonton champion. He's from India, and he shipped them. They were given to him for free, and he shipped them to India for some like local organizations for poor kids and stuff like that, so they could start chess clubs and have a large club with a bunch of chess clocks, which I think was a really nice idea. But they still had a few clocks kicking around. So I actually went down there, and they were going to give them to me for free. I ended up buying them for 2 clocks for $10 a pop for a friend of mine who still likes the old technology and doesn't like to work the presets. So I was able to get two old school chess clocks for $20. How do you guys like that? Good deal. Max says, I used to play a 90 plus 30 second tournament when I was a kid. that started at 8 p.m. Wow, that's crazy, Max. My teachers were always going after me for sleeping in class on Wednesdays because I got home at like 3 in the morning. Yeah, that's too late. We start at 7 o'clock here, and it's still too late. There's been times I couldn't catch the bus home because, I had to actually catch a ride or take a cab home because the buses weren't running anymore because we finished so late. I remember I played in a junior tournament when I was like 8 and they ran out of digital clocks. So we had to use the analog ones. Okay. I agreed to a draw with 5 minutes left. Agreed to a draw with 5 minutes left because I thought I had 5 seconds. Oh, man. In a completely winning... No way. That sucks. I love how they look, but I got one I can slap when I'm in a hurry. Gotcha. Yeah. And that was one of the fun parts about those old clocks. You could really smack the buttons. Like it was like... It had like a little plunger. It stuck up out of the top. It wasn't just this sort of like teeter-totter plastic thing, you know what I mean? You could really whoosh, and it would make this little sound. Tick, 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 tick. 20, 30, 40 clocks in the room, all ticking frantically. It was quite a sound. Hey, Depunk's in the house. We got KBCon too. What's up, guys? We're just looking at some games right now. Where are we here? Let's get some KBCon emotes up. Let's give a couple of shout-outs while we're at it, you guys. We got some excellent people in the house tonight. We've got Mr. Schwobe, one of my absolute favorites. One of my absolute favorite people I've ever met on Twitch. We have KB Khan, another favorite of mine. Lots of great people out here. I'm just trying to do my streamer shout-outs because I like you guys to go and catch their shows. That's all that I see that I know of for streamers. So it's possible we've got the people we could do a tournament possibly, but right now we're just taking a look at some games, guys. Taking a look at some fun games from the past. Let's see this Jim Marshall game. Now I kind of got to go into a bunch of little like menus here to pull this up, but let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. As I don't have my own database, I've only got a limited number of games that are available in online databases. If I actually had like Fritz 11 or something, maybe they'll have 100 of my games. I don't know. I don't know how many games of mine will be on there. But if you own any chess computer going all the way back to the days of Chessmaster, it's very likely that if you type in my name, you will find some of my games. In fact, I believe Depunk has a chess database. And I'm kind of curious to see what kind of games of mine might be in there. I'm going to try to help him get that set up. I don't know. This is another game from the Canadian Open. This was against Jim Marshall, 1726. I had the white pieces again here. So we got e4, c5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to b5. So I would play this move against both knight c6 and d6. There are two reasons why I stopped playing this line in favor of the Mora. Number one, because I found that I could not force an exchange on d4 to clear the c file for my rook. So I found it more difficult to do that, which led to a lot of important tactics and strategic motifs that I like to play in my games. And number two is sometimes it would happen that they would play this con variation. It was a fashionable... it was like a little fad opening like the London is now, where if black wanted to play a little bit, I don't want to say passively, but if black was a little fearful of your tactics, they might play one of these kind of lines, and it goes something like e4, pawn takes, knight takes, a6, knight, queen, and then like one of these kinds of positions. And so black sort of makes a little basket of pawns here, and it's not easy to penetrate into that basket. And this bishop can actually go almost anywhere as it wants. Almost every square on this line is potentially playable. Bishop e7 is safe. Bishop to d6. You can play the bishop to c5. Bishop to b4 with a double attack on the knight. You could even play all the way to a3 if you wanted, because on pawn takes, there's queen takes. So it's called the Con Sicilian. K-A-N. Not Con! Like Con in our chat room. Not KB Con, but the Con. So I stopped playing that, but at the time this was still all the rage, and I enjoyed this line. Funny thing was that previous to the Con, and you know, this is how chest openings go, is that they're kind of based on fashion. You know, if a lot of people are playing the same opening, there's just means that there's that many more people that will come up with new innovations and stuff. And eventually people will come up with innovations against the London, and the London player will start not being able to get into their comfort zone anymore. And they'll have to switch that opening up, and some new fad will come along. But the funny thing was these like Rosalimos and stuff. Whoa! Last Samurai just came in! 268 people? What? No! That's crazy! Dude! Dude! Guys, if you missed it earlier, Last Samurai was taking on freaking Hikaru, man. I watched him for a good hour. I don't know how long it was. I watched a whole bunch of games of Last Samurai taking on freaking Hikaru, man. As God is my witness, there will come a day the Last Samurai will adopt Hikaru one day. Guys, you have not seen the best yet of Last Samurai. Watch this guy, man. This man can play chess. I was extremely impressed with your games against Hikaru. How are you doing? Have a good stream, big fella. I will do that. Thank you so much for the raid, man. Well, we got to give everybody your Timbits. This is the Bertrout Show. If you're new here, it's time that you got indoctrinated into the world of the Timbits. And here they are, folks. What the hell are Timbits? Why, let me tell you. They're donut holes. That's right. They're Canadian donut holes, and they're absolutely delicious. What's inside of them? Jam, custard, and such and such. Timbits. You can even get a Timbits bouquet. You can get a cake made out of Timbits. Or you can stick a Timbit. You can jam it into the jam of a donut. Ladies and gentlemen, have some Timbits on the Trout Show. And while we're at it, let's give everybody a nice high five. High five from the Trout. Okay. Oh, look at all these follows. Thank you so much, guys. Welcome to the Trout Show. Nothing fancy going on tonight. We're just doing some classic Trout games and taking viewer games from the chat. So if anybody has a game that you're interested in taking a look at, let me know. I'll check my messages in Twitch, or you can post the link here, and we can take a look at that game for you. D-Punk, I think, had a game earlier that maybe we want to take a look at. So this is my game against Jim Marshall, 17-27. This is from the Canadian Open 2005. Eric Hansen was at this tournament. We got a chance to play a lot of games. So that's why I like to say that I'm going to take my winning record against Eric Hansen to my grave, because it's unlikely we'll ever play enough games to for me to lose that winning percentage. Although really we didn't play that many games. Maybe 30, 40, 50 games, if even that. But all those games I played him when he was young, and I could still beat him. So much like today, he always liked to follow strong players around and try to get some games against them. So he was at this tournament. I ended up playing a grandmaster named Sundararian Kadambi. Played I believe a WIM named Anyapama Gokale. And there were some other strong players in this tournament. Ganguly was there, Ivanchuk, Victor Boligan, some other players. I ended up with 6 out of 4. I think I tied first overall or something. Maybe I won like 275, or I don't remember what I won out of this tournament. I won a couple of bucks. So this was played on July 12th. Last Samurai's got his... First of all, guys, let's give a shout-out. We must give a shout-out to the Last Samurai. Guys, if you don't know the Last Samurai, I really don't know what your problem is. How can you not know who the Last Samurai is? But just on the odd chance that you don't, give the man a follow. He's fantastic, and he's also got some of the greatest emotes in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Sal Kali Bulgar Pilave. Need to go back to stream. Have a good stream. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, man. Kibi Khan says, be right back. No problem. Hey, King Goldman's in the house. What's up, man? How you doing? Sorry I missed you coming in there. Guys, thank you so much. Alan Q95 coming in with a follow. We had Near A201, Cansavar, 11 Truvald, Holy macaroni, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all those follows. I really appreciate that. When you guys give me follows and stuff, that you know, it's a simple thing that you can do for free. So if you're not following, please give me a follow. When you guys follow, it leads to possible sponsorship, getting freebies and things that I can give out to people watching my show. So I can give out more things to guys like you. And if you guys all chat at the same time, if I can get like 30 people chatting in the same like 1 minute, even if you're not chatting and you just spam some emotes right now, if 30 people do that, I get like 10 more VIP badges. And I can give like more VIPs to all of you guys. So if you guys want to just like spam the hell out of me, put all of your Last Samurai emotes in there right now. Say hi, type blibbity blop, whatever, okay? Whoops, as I accidentally changed the scenes there, okay? When you do that, you can help me to get some new VIP emotes. So feel free to spam the bejeepers out of me. Thank you, Tamas. This is VIP badge hype. Abjugir just gifted a sub to the Last Samurai. That is AB's 14th gift sub. The Last Samurai has fish to fly in the air. That is freaking awesome. AB, you are an absolute legend. That is why you have your own emote. 11 Truvad. Wow, those are some nice emotes. Man, look at these sick emotes. What? Where are you guys getting all these from? Anything, guys. Just spam anything. Anything. Spam some emotes. Say hi. Say woozle wuzzle. Alright, and while you're doing that, I'm going to get back into this game. So we got ourselves a Rosalimo. The Rosalimo before the Rosalimo was famous from the World Championship. For the record, in this position, I think that taking back with the D-pawn's a lot better. The reason why is now I can't play C3, which is my intention to play D4. I'm trying to minimize the point of the Sicilian by playing D4 so that I can swap off a side pawn for a side pawn instead of a side pawn for a center pawn, which is one of the main advantages of black, trying to make that imbalance in the position. Torpedo Supermarket making a splash. What's up, Torpedo? You guys are freaking awesome, man. Do you have to follow to chat? What do you keep saying that, Torpedo? I don't know why you're saying that. I don't think it's on followers only. Is it? Can one of my mods check into that? Is Schwobi or someone out there? Can someone see if it's on followers only mode? It doesn't have to be on that right now. Did you fix that? Thank you. Sorry, Torpedo. I don't know when that's on. I put that on because of trolls and stuff like that when trolls come on, but sometimes I guess I forget to take it off, so I apologize for that. Sorry about that, Torpedo. Yeah, I don't like it when that happens either, especially when sometimes I'll go on a raid or something like that, and it's 10-minute followers only, and I raid the person, and then I follow them, and I can't even say, hey, what's up? I'm the guy who raided you because it's on followers only, so I understand the frustration. I apologize for that. Thanks, man. Thanks for letting me know. Wow, another one. Nicola Drummer, Abia, Torpedo Supermarket. Man, oh man, guys. Thomas is like, trolls. Yay, I know. I got like all sorts of little funny like troll gifts. So I got my troll lollipop. Okay, there's my troll lollipop, and then I got my troll typing really fast on the keyboard. Okay, and then this is my favorite one. It's the troll of the day. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, dip. You take a bath, you troll. You just got splashed. You just got splashed on the Trout Show. You just got fish slapped. Schlaboom! Oh, double dip my chip. You've been octo-slapped on the 8x8. A fish in yo face. Schlaboom! Okay. Okay, so I'm prepped, guys. I'm prepared for the trolls. Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, let's try to play a little bit of chess. Let's just concentrate on the chess here, Trout. Come on. There's 268 people just joined. Let's try to keep a couple of them around with some actual chess. So, the reason why c3 is not a good move here is because I got this move. Queen to d3. I can just temporarily take advantage of that hole on d3. So that's uncomfortable. So instead I end up having to play d3. And you guys are probably familiar with positions somewhat similar to this where g6 and e5 and knight to f7 and d7 and so on are going to get played, which you might have seen in the Carlsen Fabi World Championship match. So instead my opponent takes back with the b pawn. I mean, it does open up the file for the half open file for the rook, but this is not the best way to take that. So I play the move c3. D6, probably the move D5 is better, if I'm being honest. D5 is always the freeing move in the Sicilian. But black knows that he intends to play G6 in Fianchetto, so maybe he's not worried about this pawn chain obstructing his bishop. But if nothing else, it obstructs the queen. And it leaves my e-pawn still poised on E4 to make action in the center. So D5 was probably a better move there. Thomas says, slap the king and mate. oh, you got the... Thomas has the BA from the Hikaru show. Bar trout. Is Thomas familiar with the trout bars? Is Thomas familiar with the fact that the trout drops bars? The trout drops bars, guys. The trout will drop some chest wrap if you provoke him. Okay? Be aware. Be aware. There is a possibility of chest wrap. Okay. Oh, and Abjigair's got the Harlem fish lap. Kara Denelga, what's up? How you doing today, sir? The man whose name means something naughty in Spanish. So I played this move h3. The reason for h3 is very simple. I don't want him to play bishop to g4, interfering with my potential to play d4. So the whole point of this opening for me is I want to get this d4 push in. Once I play d4, black has a lot of difficulties with their pawns. Whether they take, they allow me to take, or they allow me to push either my d or my e pawn. There's a lot of potential weaknesses, double pawns and backwards pawns that black could get saddled with here. So I've become quite astute at how to deal with these pawns, and this is a lower rated player, so I'm going to try to take advantage of those pawns in the center early. So now he plays the move g6. Always castle before you start an attack, guys. Always castle first. If you don't castle first, then your king can be attacked from more directions, and out of the clear blue sky, your opponent's going to get some check or some one move tactic, and it's going to be the critical tactic they need to defend their position. So get castled and then you can attack. Bishop to g7. Now the onus is on black to get castled immediately. He's not in any position to be farting around with his pawns in the center. He's going to get some action towards castling quickly. So bishop to g7, queen to e2, queen to c7. He's going to make that move because he knows that rook to d1 is coming. And now I played this move d3. Why did I play d3, I wonder, in this position? I'm not really sure why I played d3 in this position. Normally I would play d4 here. If he plays something like this a-pawn push, that's just kind of a cheese ball attack I'm going to play here. And on bishop over, I'll just play queen to c2. So d3, pawn push, bishop to e3. He still plays a5, so here I go in with my rook to d1. Knight f6, probably e7 was a better square. On f6, it's an easier target. Should I start throwing my pawns up? King safety is a thing. Exactly, AB. Well said. Yeah, always get your king safe, folks. You don't get any extra points. You don't get any extra rating points or any points on your cross table for mating quicker. And in fact, you'll find that by playing patiently and developing all your pieces to the correct squares, that actually you will not only win just as fast, you can often win faster than going for a speculative attack that just is missing one critical piece. So queen to c2, bishop to d7, knight b to d2. Once again, I'm just going to develop all of my pieces. There's no rush. There's nothing that can stop me from playing d4. So when the moment is right, I'm going to play that. Castles, and I played d4 now. Thomas says always retreat. Always retreat. I've seen this so many times, it's less troll of the day at this point and more troll of the decade. Not complaining, though. Well, where are you getting all these emotes from, D-Punk? I like these. So pawn takes. And pawn takes. Here's the problem, is that I might be possibly threatening moves like d5 In fact, in a lot of these lines, and it happens in the Smithmore as well, I end up with a knight on c3, and in this position I can actually play the knight to d5, which is a much more preferable move. But I don't have that in this particular position. So my opponent chooses to take. I decided to take back with the bishop because I want to take advantage of this pin. I'm not worried about c5 because his queen's in a pin, which is the whole purpose for this maneuver. It seems like a strange idea, this concept of moving my queen to e2 and then moving over to c2. Why didn't I just move to c2 in the first place? I moved to e2 because it's an x-ray attack on the king. And also from e2, it guards the b-pawn. It potentially can spring me to the c4 square. So there's a lot of useful moves that it can do from the e2 square. And then when the time is right, I just transfer it over to c2. Now it's got more usefulness pinning the queen, now that the king is castled. So rook over, I did play queen to c3. Knight to h5, I played bishop takes and knight takes. So now he's got a fianchettoed knight. Obviously not as good as a fianchettoed bishop. And you can see what I mean when I say that black in this line is getting some really weakened pawns. He's got a hanging phalanx. If you don't know what a hanging phalanx is, you probably never read Pawn Power in Chess by Hans Kamak. Or if you did, you probably read the algebraic notation where they take out some of his funny terms. That's sometimes called the hanging pawn phalanx, where there's two pawns that can protect each other, but if either one of them ever moves forward, then the other one becomes backwards. So one pawn or the other will become a weakness. And then this is an isolated pawn, which is also a backwards pawn. A backwards pawn means no pawns on an adjacent file that can protect it. So this pawn can only be guarded with pieces, making it a liability. So meanwhile, white has fairly good quality pawn structure. And if you notice, unlike in your typical Sicilian, both black and white have a single pawn in the center on the center two files. So black does not have that normal advantage that they would have. There is some imbalance, but I think the imbalances favor white. So I feel that white has gotten the better of this opening. I played the move knight to c4. Attack on d6. An Eve streamer. I don't know what an Eve streamer is. Wow, look at all the people. Thanks for hanging around with me, guys. Thanks for hanging around with me on the Trout Show. Taking a look at my game versus Jim Marshall from the Edmonton Canadian Open in 2005. That's our big tournament of the year. Usually have several hundred people show up for these tournaments. Get quite a number of grandmasters to come down. I played one grandmaster and another, at least one more, if not two more title players in this tournament. Can't remember if Pachenkin was titled. I think he was an FM. I think he was. So rook takes e4, knight takes d6, and then comes the move rook to e6. I wonder if maybe, was it possible to play, I forget what was going to happen on rook to e6. What does the computer think here? It does think rook to e6. Ah, knight to b5. Right. Right, okay, fair enough. So I really like this move, knight to e5. It's not necessarily so much because of the attack. It's more along the lines that it's stifling, it's blocking and stifling black's position. GMs are for breakfast. Super GMs take time, says Tomas. Yeah, that I had a good position against that GM. We took a brief look at it in the last stream. I had a respectable position against him. At one point in time, he thought he was lost. And I tried a really nice trick that he didn't see the full scope of. And I was able to out-analyze him in the Skittles room afterwards. But even still, once we got to the critical position, he was able to find the right move. So it's probably all the same that it didn't go into that line, because he did have a way to get out of it. So, but it was a lot of fun playing a Grandmaster in a full-length time control. So okay, bishop to e6 gets played. It was just a mistake. I played knight takes c6, rook over. I played knight to b5, queen to b6, a4. So I'm just continuing to use my knights to completely stymie my opponent. I think my knights are totally outclassing my opponent's minor pieces here. I'm up 1 pawn now. I'm still continuing to really cramp his position. And I think here that on this next move, I think that black thought that I had made a blunder with a4. My opponent plays the move rook to c8. What would you guys play here for white? Oh, I guess I can't do this because I'm in my live mode. What happens if I go? Can I go to this one? Okay, maybe this will maybe some of you guys didn't see it. Okay, what do you guys think of this position? And in the background, you might notice some timbits there. Okay. Knight check. On knight check, we might be able to do rook takes. Tomas says take the rook. Any more guesses? Rook takes d7, rook takes c6, rook to d8 check, queen takes c6, wins in exchange. Rook takes rook, then knight takes e7. Okay, so we've got rook takes. That is correct. Rook takes. This was the reason why I think that, he told me after the game that his heart was racing here, that he was, and I remember as he went to pick up the rook to take my knight on c6 that his hand was shaking. But I had calculated this, and Max has got it correct. I have rook to d8. It's the only move, I think. Let's just turn on the computer, make sure that I'm still correct. There's actually queen takes c6. It also says it's playable. Queen takes c6, queen takes rook to d8, knight to e8, and knight to d4. Wow, look at that, guys. Queen takes, rook check, knight to d8, and knight to d4. Look at that. Look at that interesting move. Very interesting line. Never considered that. And it says that white is also doing good there. Hey, Blaze is in the house. That's a shout out. That is a streamer alert. Blaze row 8 is in the house. How are you doing today, sir? Welcome, welcome. How's life? How's poker? How's your Christmas crackers? Do I have my vamp? I hope I do. I'm always running out of my subs. Ah, oh, thank God I've got my vamp. I never know from day to day which subs I've got. Let me throw out a couple of more for Mr. Last Samurai, even though I know he's probably getting some rest after a long stream. I was watching him play Hikaru for like an hour. It was awesome, man. Guys, Last Samurai, I think, is going to be a much stronger player yet. I don't think we've come close to seeing his strongest chess yet. And he was going toe-to-toe with Nakamura. Yeah, he's probably taking his beauty streak, but still want to give him a shout out. Nice to have him in the house. Nice to have these big guns in the house. So I played my move, rook to d8. In the event of knight back, I'm just going to take it. And that will be mate. So he must play queen takes. I got queen takes rook. And so I've won an exchange out of this deal in addition to the pawn that I already had. Knight to f5. I played queen to c3. Chippy says he wasn't going toe-to-toe with Naka. He lost 20 straight. He had several winning games there, Chippy. He had one game where he was doing really good on the time. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that good on the time before against Naka. He had one game where it came down to an endgame, and it was like a rook and a knight versus a rook and a knight, and pawns on the same side of the board. And Naka tricked him and pinned his stupid knight. He just fell into a one-move cheapo. And he's he's like 400 points lower rated than Naka on chess.com. Yeah, he does have a lot of chess toes. Okay, well, fair enough. But as far as I'm concerned, like what I'm trying to get at is I feel like the Last Samurai, who's like Last Samurai, I think just turned 20 years old or 21 years old. He's young still. Like he was on the top junior list until like February. Okay, the world top junior list. So he's just very young still, and he's still a developing player. And he's out there and he's going into like winning and dead drawn positions against Naka, and Naka's on the board and he's rolling his eyes and he's going, okay, fine. Like Naka's struggling against Last Samurai. Now it turns out that I didn't see that many games. I saw about 8 or 10 games, and there were several games where Last Samurai was better, and he was like equal on time. So as far as I'm concerned, Last Samurai has a huge upside, and I think one day he's going to be a 2700. Especially over the board, yeah. Yeah, he's a for a player that age, he's a pretty like deep thinker. Like he's more than capable of playing fast, but he's a pretty deep thinker. Like he likes to take his time, and he's been known to get like puzzles wrong and stuff like that. He's been known to miss like chess tactics and stuff. I'm talking like chess.com tactics exercises and stuff, or like puzzle rush tactics or something. So he's capable of missing moves if they come too quickly, but if you give him a little time to think about it, like you don't have a prayer of catching him in a tactic. He defeated Magnus, if I remember right. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, he's got an upside, and it's cool. It's cool because we get a chance to hang out with him, guys. Just think about that. We're talking about a grandmaster hanging out with us schlums, coming into a crappy show like mine and giving me a raid and hanging out, being a sub on my show and stuff like that. Isn't that cool, guys? Oxygen Dioxide, welcome to the Trout Show. Thank you guys for all these follows, man. I really apologize for anyone I missed. I appreciate all of that. Oh, Oxygen has only come in to troll me. Oh, well, then in that case, I don't appreciate you. In fact, guess what, Oxygen? Guess what, Oxygen, you poor sad man, who I'm going to guess is Soltigo. You're even going to get the, you're going to get the troll of the day. Woo! Woo! What's up, buddy? Splash! Splash! How you like that, buddy? Oh, man. All right. Let's see how this game ended. So we got this move, Queen of C3. Knight to H4 was tried. I mean, I can't really blame the guy. Maybe he hopes for some like cheapo mate or something like that. There's nothing wrong with trying for a swindle, guys. If you know that you're losing, go for it, man. Hey, Jacuzzi's in the house. He says that gives new meaning to making a splash on the Trout Show. That's right. I usually ignore those guys, but there's a handful of guys connected to that streamer, and I'm not even gonna dignify that with a response. But I've discussed that on my Discord in the past, so if people want to go check that out, they can do so. But usually I just ignore those guys. But today I thought it would be fun to, since I had already made allusions to my my troll memes and stuff like that, my troll gifts. So I thought I would put one on. Yeah, he did get fish slapped. That's right. Calculated says, Bert Trout, what's up, Trout? I'm doing good, man. How's your... I didn't see you stream again, so I don't know if I'm missing them or if you just didn't get one on. Max is Bad says, even if you don't know that you're losing, go for a swindle anyways. No, I mean, I don't think you're saying the correct terminology, and I'll get into that maybe after this game, and I'll explain what I mean when I'm talking about a swindle. So there's 3 different types of situations: a trick or a trap, a pitfall, and a swindle. And those are 3 separate things that happen in 3 different situations. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. But let's finish off this game. So we had knight to h4, queen comes over to g3, queen to f6, we have rook over to d1, we have knight to f5, queen to c3. I'm more than happy to swap these queens off. So my opponent cannot do the same. Queen back to e7. I have to, queen takes pawn. You might think that I'm being greedy and going for some extra queen, but I have a specific reason why I wanted this square, and it was not the pawn. My opponent didn't see it and went back to h4, and now I have this move, queen to d8, which was my real point, forcing a swap off of the queens, and my opponent resigned on that move, which is move number 33. So that was a pretty cute little game, I thought. It really only featured one critical tactic, but this is what happens, and sometimes I've talked to you guys about how I feel like the early middle game and the late middle game are two separate stages of the game with very different goals. So let's just get to the point in time where we've got some basic development, okay? All right, so let's talk from this point of view, okay? We're on move 13. Both of us have connected rooks. We've both put our minor pieces towards the center of the board. Some of the pawns are fixed. Some of them are still fluid. Okay, so now that you've finished the opening stage of the game, you've got your king to safety. We both have a pawn in the center, minor pieces developed, and rooks connected. So now what do you do? Now what do you do once the opening is open? Well, now you start using the pieces that you've developed to formulate a plan. You want to try to use tactics. You want to make some sort of a contact with your opponent. And you want to try to gain some sort of a material or a positional advantage and formulate a plan. Now my plan right now is going to revolve around breaking this d-pawn at some point in time and trying to saddle black with some weakened pawns, which I hope to take advantage of later in the endgame. So some moves take place here, and here I'm just trying to place my pieces on the best possible squares. And if I can exchange any of my opponent's most active pieces, I'll do so, like this bishop on g7. And somewhere around here, very quickly, we get into a position where it's already time to make a break in the position. And let's see where that position takes place. So knight, rook, knight, queen, rook. Oh no, sorry, pawn. And rook. And so here we find ourselves now on move 24, and the position is about to break. We're about to break from an endgame, from a middle game into an endgame. How can you tell that we're about to go into an endgame? What is an endgame? An endgame for me... Oh, Blazero coming in with 500 biddies. Thank you. Aw. Love, nice green screen. Love the invisible background. Or your house has been robbed. I know, right? I had to take it down because of my cat, Blazero. My cat was ripping it down every day. Thank you so much, Blaze, for those 500 biddies. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. What can I give you? Let's give you at least some Timbits. Have some Timbits, sir. Little champagne with your Timbits. Maybe you would like a Timbits burger. Oh, Orlova's coming in with 50. You're looking great, seriously. No stress. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Orlova. How you doing tonight? I haven't seen you in the longest time. Miss ya. I'm doing okay, to be honest. I was pretty tired today, so I'm probably just like giddy with exhaustion. I'm working 6 days a week now. Had a lot of new lessons lately, which has been really, really nice. Really nice boon. Yeah, so I'm feeling good. I do appreciate that. Trying to keep a good humor and just enjoying my chat and my friends today. So if that makes me look better, then great. So again, let's get back to this scenario. So what's happening here is that how you can tell that you're going to get into an endgame, folks. This endgame for me means the situation where one side or the other is engaged in a race to get a pawn to the other side of the board. Now, you might not physically be able to get that pawn. It might be blocked right now. But the game starts revolving around clearing the way for your pawn to get to the other side of the board. In this situation, there's no such thing going on. That's not what's going on here. There's bigger fish to fry right now than trying to get a pawn. There's too many pieces on the board. The later middle game is a stage in the game where you've placed your pieces on the best possible squares that you can, and now the break has to happen. That break can be either a pawn break, where you crack open some lines in the position, which allow your pieces to come rushing in behind them, or it can be a series of exchanges that whittles it down to sticks and stones, where now it does become practical to start pushing a pawn towards a queen. And so we've kind of come to that point in time in the game, and this is a critical transition. And too many people miss this in chess. as Mather87 makes a splash on the Trout Show. Guys, just to keep the mods, keep your eyes open tonight if you don't mind. We've taken it off of followers only mode. But thank you for all the new follows. Much appreciated. So this is a critical stage in the game, guys, because the motives of the late middle game are very different from the early middle game. The early middle game, you're just simply trying to maneuver your pieces around to the best possible squares and formulate a plan. The breaking position, you've already formulated a plan. Your pieces are already on the best squares that they can get to. Now it's just a matter of how can I go about making the break, exchanging the pieces, and swapping off into an endgame that's favorable for me. Or sometimes you might even be in a worse position, and you realize, man, I've got to start swapping off some pieces because I have to relieve the pressure on my position, and I'll have a better chance of activity in an endgame. So it's a critical stage of the game that gets overlooked far too often, and that's what happens in this position, where I finally go for the swap off after rook takes and rook takes, and I've got this rook to d8. It's the only, really in my mind, that's the only move, although apparently the computer seems to think that queen takes is a playable move as well, but... computer thinks this is also good for white, but... so queen takes and queen takes. Knight, queen. Knight, queen, queen, rook, knight, queen. Queen takes pawn. You can clearly see that we're now no longer in a middle game. This is an end game. The pawns are racing. Orlova asks, what happened to my green screen? So what happened, guys, is I'm a cat owner. Let me show you my cat as I tell this story about her. Let me show you my cat. There she is. Oh, look at my sweet Chinook. Look at that lanky body. You can't see how long her tail is in this picture, but trust me, this is a long, sleek, agile cat, and she likes to get into mischief. Her name is Chinook. She's half Siamese and half tabby. Now, Chinook is a very sweet cat. She doesn't hiss. She doesn't scratch. She doesn't bite. She might occasionally take a little playful swat or a nibble at the back of your Achilles tendon as you pass by if your jeans are flopping around, but that's just instinct. Or she might scratch you out of fear if you're putting her in the cat carrier to take her to the vet. But again, that's just instinct. There's not a mean bone in her body. And yet, Satan lives in her heart. Buried somewheres in her heart, there is a demon. And it causes her to destroy all the things. What things? All the things. Particularly things that are alive. Bugs, cats, dogs, birds, mice, people, plants, fish. She'll kill all of them if she could. And so what happens is that when I leave my house, my cat likes to play with the corner of my green screen, and every time I would come home, my green screen would be ripped right off of the freaking wall and just bundled in a corner with big, like, gashes, big chunks ripped out of the top. So I was struggling to get into the habit of closing my door, and even if I could close my door when I left the house, I still have to go to the bathroom, go make a coffee, whatever, and every time I would leave, she would run in here and she would rip my green screen to shreds. And I was starting to get really angry at her, really, really mad. And I was like, screw this, I'm just going to take that thing down. So I took it down, and now we're both much happier, and at some point in time, I'm going to figure out how I can get it back up where she won't destroy it, but I really don't know how to do that, guys, because she is a very agile cat, and I haven't been able to have a picture up in 11 years because of this cat. I cannot have a picture on my wall anywhere. No pictures, no posters. Totally bare walls. I've got a calendar, but it's like 6 feet up in the air. Get sticker wallpaper. That's what I did. I'm thinking about getting the chroma green paint. Paint myself green and wear a green t-shirt. Wow. There actually is a chroma key bodysuit. AB says, and if you want to know more, see this video. It's the scary cat story. That's also in my favorite clips. Clip show. It's in my VODs. Next door cat came into my garden. It dug a big hole and did a poo. Then it buried it. I was amazed how a cat can do that, says Blaze Row. This seems like the setup to a joke, Blaze. Don't I recognize this joke? This is a setup for a joke, Blaze. What's the punchline? I remember this. Orlova says you got to go for dogs. More precisely, my dog. Oh, believe me, if I could steal your dog, I would. Orlova, I wouldn't even blink. I love your dog. I love Boston Terriers. They're wonderful. In fact, Boston Terrier kind of acts like a cat in some way. It'll come and sit up on your lap and make you pet it and jump up on the furniture. And then you can run the green screen software, but backwards, so it replaces the non-green stuff. Specimen, you like that clip? Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I can do. I could paint the wall green, but it's not technically going to be chroma green. Here's the problem. How a green screen works, guys, is that it's made of a certain type of a fabric that's kind of like, it's got a texture to it. The reason why is it cannot be a shiny surface. If it's a shiny surface, it doesn't work as a green screen. The shine will throw off the chroma key, okay? That's why it's made of that material. So there is a type of chroma key paint, and it's texturized. It's like made with sawdust. So it's actually textured on your wall, and it's glare resistant or glare proof. And it's like $400. Okay, it's like $400 freaking dollars a can. So, I mean, maybe what I could do is I could get the hex code for my chroma key, go down to the paint store, have them mix it up, and then mix my own with sawdust and make my own chroma key paint. That might work. Birdtrap, can I do a command with the cat story? Sure, yeah. You're a mod, AB. You can do whatever you like. I don't micromanage my mods, so whatever you think would be fun, you're more than welcome to do that. A square green on the wall sounds great. Hey, how you doing? Forget about it. Yeah, maybe. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. If you guys don't know what that clip is, by the way, the scary cat story, it's basically my cat, like most cats, likes to smell my eyeballs. She absolutely loves the smell of my eyeballs. She likes to walk up to me, smell my eyes so closely that her whiskers tickle my eyelashes, and then she likes to lick her lips. And so I like to joke that one tragic day, the trout will have a heart attack. The trout will have a heart attack, and they'll find me 2 or 3 days later, and my eyeballs will be missing, because my cat on my death, as an honor to me, of course, as her master, will immediately eat my eyeballs. Those eyeballs that she's smelled and fawned over so many times. Blaze says, Bertrout, you should say that is what cats do, Blaze. Then I replies, what, with a shovel? Gotcha. I knew it was a joke, Blaze. I just forgot the punchline. I just forgot a punchline. Gotcha. That's like my joke about, how I went home and I had a peanut butter and a Amata sandwich. You know what I mean? Some people like peanut butter and jam. Some people like peanut butter and bananas, but I like peanut butter and Amata sandwiches. And then they go, peanut butter and Amata? What's the matter? And I go, well, nothing. What's the matter with you? Okay. It's not a very good joke, but that's the punchline of it. Making a lash. I mean, I'm not really worried about her scratching wood because she's not going to destroy it. She'll probably find a way to knock it over. The picture of her standing on my scooter, let me show you this again, guys. Let me just show you this so that I can tell you this story. You see that scooter, that electric scooter that I used to own, that my cat is standing on? I've had a couple of those. They're actually pretty good vehicles. So my cat, this is in my old place, and my cat used to springboard herself off of this vehicle and launch herself onto other objects so that she could get up to higher places. And she once launched so hard off of this scooter on a kickstand that she knocked it completely over. I'm sorry I'm a little behind on the follows, guys. I do appreciate all you guys for those follows. What if I do not like peanut butter sandwiches? I like cream cheese or pate. Okay, well, cream cheese or pate on a bagel is fine. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. I like cream cheese as well. I like to go to Tim Hortons and get the jalapeno and cheddar bagel with cream cheese. That one's pretty tasty. Peanut butter is overrated, so seems reasonable. Yeah, it is overrated. You know why people like peanut butter? Because it's easy. You know who eats a lot of peanut butter sandwiches is like single guys. Because you don't even need a plate. You just like plop 2 pieces of bread on the counter, 1 butter knife, clink, clink, instant protein. You know what I mean? No dishes. That's why people eat peanut butter. It's cheap and it's a lazy man's food. You know, it's an instant pudding kind of a food. But it is nutritious. But I like cream cheese more as well. Honey glazed peanuts, I like those too. I'm more of a barbecue peanut guy, and I also really like tamari almonds. The health food store I used to work at had these organic tamari flavored almonds, which is like a type of a higher quality, more pure soy sauce or whatever, and it was delicious. Grantix is into the cashews. I think I have some nut allergies, so I've tried to avoid a lot of nuts, which sucks because I'm a vegetarian. Now I'm on a diet. I can't eat bread, so there's like no meat, no like half of the nuts I can't eat, no bread, no pasta. Why don't you just like hook me up to an IV? Like, let's just get this over with. You know what I mean? But I do miss all of those nuts, and nothing bad has ever happened to me, but like if I eat like walnuts, I get these like little inflamed taste buds. I get these little like sore spots on my tongue. It's like it's too basey. I don't know how to explain it, but I get sore, like little sores on my tongue if I eat walnuts. So I ate them like half of my life, and then one day I was like, maybe this is like an allergy. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So it won't kill me or anything, but it doesn't feel good. I like organic popcorn too, as long as it's not with like coconut oil, which is very fattening, has a lot of trans fats. I think mostly they don't do that anymore. But I'm really big on almonds. I eat a lot of almonds. I eat a lot of peanuts. And then I eat a lot of seeds, like sunflower seeds. Really high in vitamin E. That's one of my favorites. Grant Tink says, cool, I've been vegan for 4 days. Is that true? It's not intentional. I did 10 months as a vegan. I did 10 months. I felt good, and at the time I could afford the food. But the killer for me was that I couldn't find anything worthwhile with B12 in it, with vitamin B12. And towards the end, what I had to do, so now we've got lots of you can just buy soy milk or veggie ground beef, and it's fortified with B12 now. But in those days, I had this little liquid bottle with an eyedropper in it, and I had to stick my eyedropper in it and put 2 drops on my tongue every day. And that's how I had to live for months. And one day I was holding that eyedropper up, and I looked at it, and I'm like, this is like some sort of a science experiment gone wrong. I'm like, this isn't natural. What do I do if I'm ever in a situation and I don't have my little stupid eyedropper? This can't be natural. And so I made a decision to stop doing that. Also, I miss cheese. I like cheese, guys. I like cheese. All cheese. Chippy says my GF is vegan and she just buys the B12 supplements. Yeah. I mean, if you've got access to that and you live in a Western world, you can get away with that, but For me, I just felt like that wasn't a good thing, a good fit for me. So now I eat cheese, eggs, milk, mostly because it's cheaper than soy milk. I wish I could just drink soy milk, but also there's been some studies that say that if you drink too much soy milk, it increases your estrogen, which is probably not a good thing for a guy. So, you know, I'll just drink a little milk. I could totally go for meat on celebrations. Man, I just made a nice steak last night. I would never go vegan or vegetarian. I definitely would cut down meat intake. I mean, there's some things that I miss. Most of those foods I can just make a veggie version of them, so I don't miss them at all. I make tacos all the time, and pizza, and lasagna, and basically anything I want. Chicken strips, beef strips, anything I want, I can get it in a vegetarian variety now. Burgers and all that stuff, you know. But there's a few things I missed. So my birthday meal growing up, okay? Every year when I would have my birthday, I would have this nice fancy meal. And this is what I would have. I would have lobster tails with garlic butter. I would have artichokes with lemon butter. I would have peppercorn steak. And I would have ice cream cake from Dairy Queen. And that was my freaking birthday dinner, baby. And it was delicious. And still to this day, that's the only thing you can tempt me with is a lobster tail. That's the only thing I've legitimately cheated on since I've become a vegetarian 23 years ago. Blazer says, Burkhat, have you ever seen an egg having sex? No, I haven't, Blaze. What's the punchline on that? Max's Bad says, I guess it's a memory thing. When I had a stroke, I drank banana milk. Like an hour before, the flavored milk still makes me nauseous to this day. You had a stroke, Max? Oh, I see. Now I'm getting the joke, Blaze. That chicken and egg thing is obvious with what came first. Have you ever seen an egg having sex? Ladies and gentlemen, Blazero is handling some philosophical questions for us on the Trout Show tonight. It's like, you know, you ever heard that riddle, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Very easy, right? If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it still make a noise? Yeah, of course. Of course it does. Why does somebody have to hear it for it to make a noise? These philosophical questions are not very good. The real question is, if a rooster lays an egg on the absolute epicenter on the roof of a house, what side does it roll to, the left or the right? That's the real question. Forget About It says, I don't get vegans. Why not just eat good food? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. Like, I remember when I became a vegetarian myself, I mean, I never was a huge meat fan in the first place, but I did it for a lot of reasons: health reasons, economic reasons. The final catalyst for me was I was a teenager and I was with some friends and we were watching this movie called Faces of Death. And Faces of Death was this like banned quasi-psychology movie where they show you, you know, videos of human beings being like dying or being murdered or whatever. And it was supposed to be like to prepare you for like being in the field of psychology. Just a gruesome, disgusting series of videos. You can probably find them easily now on YouTube or something. In those days you couldn't find them. They were almost impossible to find. They were banned. And in order to wean you into this movie, God only knows why we thought this was something we would want to watch as kids. But in order to wean you into these videos, they would show you scenes of animals being killed in the slaughterhouse. And it was revolting. It was revolting, and it left a big mark on me, and I just it just turned me off. It made it hard to continue. So at one point in time, I went about a month without eating meat. And one day I was eating some hamburger soup or something, and I just happened to taste it, and I suddenly realized how greasy and gross it tasted. and I realized that I didn't like the taste of meat anymore, and so I never went back. I had a friend who was talking about the estrogen thing. He was already addicted, though. He drinks like a liter of the stuff a day. Yeah, I used to drink a lot of soy milk too, but yeah, no, I'll pass on the estrogen. What is the best way for me to remember between vegans and vegetarians? Give me a really simple way, like a 5-year-old would remember. Vegans don't eat any animal products. Nothing that ever came from an animal. Vegetarians will eat things as long as it's not red meat. There's even something called a pesco vegetarian, where they eat fish. There's a lacto-ovo vegetarian where they'll eat milk and eggs. And I'm missing a whole bunch of subs and biddies. I'm going to get right into you guys. I apologize, I've fallen so far behind. But that's basically it. A vegan doesn't eat any animal. What happened here? Did I get like a bomb or something? Blazero says we can't stand steaks. Yeah, because you're a vampire, of course. If a rooster is laying an egg, I think the side it rolls on is the least of your worries. Maxie caught me on that one. That would be an awesome rooster with some internal problems. And none of you guys fell for that one. Hey, Torpedo, you're back. What's up, man? Oh, we're just talking about, chickens and stuff like that. If you travel to the sun at night, he would not get burnt up, says Blazero. Java Knight Ninja, what's up, man? How you doing? Forget about it. That monkey in the basket that eats his brains. Oh, what? Ew. Yeah. Oh, so you've seen that Forget About It. Yeah. Yeah, it's a disgusting show. I don't recommend it, folks. It's really awful. Really, really awful show. Jackie the Sweet, good morning. How are you doing? Orlova says, have a good night, everyone. You all are awesome. Please make sure to give this guy an awesome love. Bertrand heading out. Hope you have a great rest of the stream. 25 biddies for Molova. Bless your soul, young lady. You're a wonderful lady, and I do appreciate you being here. Guys, let's give a shout out to Lisa Orlova, a wonderful chess streamer and a wonderful lady. What has happened here, guys? Torpedo, Torpedo came in with a 5 gifts bomb, man. What? Torpedo? What can we give to the Torpedo for that? Thank you so much, dude. That's freaking awesome of you, man. Whoa, Torpedo. Coming in with a gift bomb. Whoa, yes, gift bomb from Torpedo Supermarket. So wicked, yes. Seriously, dude? You gonna make me all emotional on the Trout Show, giving me a gift bomb like that? That's so kind of you. Yay! Thank you, Torpedo Supermarket. Yay, that deserves a dab. Okay. And gifted some more. You gifted another one to KB Khan? Another one to Snake Pit? Holy macaroni, dude. You're going ham. Thank you so much, Torpedo. Really kind of you, man. Really, really kind of you. Guys, well, I got a lot of people in the house. Hopefully I still got some of the people from that raid. I'm just going to let you guys know that for sure tomorrow, possibly even from this show. I might even do it from this show as well, just because I don't want people to feel like they made a gift bomb on the wrong night, or a gift sub on the wrong night. So Harlemknite, folks, whose coffee I'm drinking out of his mug today. Harlemknite is doing for the entire month of March, he's doing a charity fundraiser for a specific disease, and I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm not even going to try. But it's a condition that his wife suffers from, and he wants to raise some money for the charity and raise awareness of the condition and speak a little bit about how it's affected him and his wife and their lives and stuff like that, which I think is incredibly brave of them to do that, and incredibly kind to donate a whole month of donos and subs and bits to this charity for this specific disease. So in an act of solidarity, I'm going to be doing a stream tomorrow night, and all of the subs and all of the donos and all of the biddies that I earned from that show, we are going to donate those to the same charity that Harlemknite is donating to. It's a small sacrifice, which I think is really what we're doing when we give to charities. We can't solve all of the world's problems, but when you make a sacrifice, you're basically saying, I don't have to go through what you're going through, but at least I have a choice to make some sacrifice where you don't have a choice. You're just stuck with this disease, and you have to live with the consequences of that, until there's a cure. So I'm going to sacrifice some very small part of my life by choice to show solidarity and to help you to find a cure. So that's what we're gonna do tomorrow night, and we might even do all of the subs from this show as well, just because I don't want people to come in and leave subs and then not be able to do it tomorrow and then feel like, oh man, I wish I would have known that. I would have given those subs tomorrow. So I might just give the 2 shows instead, and just give all of that money to Harlemknite. But 100% for sure tomorrow, I'm going to put it in my title, and all of the money, all of the subs, all of the donos, all of the biddies that I raise on the show tomorrow are going to go to that charity of Harlemknites. I've already spoken to him about it, and he's given me the green light to do that. So come and join us tomorrow, and we'll raise a little bit of money for charity, guys. Let's step up and show some support, not only for the people dealing with that disease, like Harlem's wife, but for Harlem himself, you know, for all of the sacrifices that he makes for his family, and for his wife for being so brave to share that information with us about what she's going through. So Max's Bad says, do vegans eat bugs? No, vegans do not even eat honey, because it exploits the labor of bees. It like oppresses the bees. Okay, they won't even eat marshmallows because it's got gelatin. Torpedo gifted another one? What? Dude, what the hell's going on? What? Torpedo Supermarket just gifted a tier 3 sub to Specimen 47? Oh my god. That is only the 2nd ever tier 3 sub in the entire history of my show. Oh my god, dude. I would do like the Go Tornado thing, but Tornado doesn't really go with that, you know? Go Torpedo, 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 Torpedo. What can we give to Torpedo? Guys, that's insane, dude. I can't believe you just did that. You have got to get our love bomb. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a stone cold love bomb for Torpedo Supermarket. Tipped me off that I was on followers only mode. Was kind enough to stick around even though it was irking him. He couldn't talk. Tipped me off. We were able to fix that up for him. And then he comes in, donates a bunch of gift subs and a gift bomb, and then drops a tier 3 on Specimen. You get the Timbits bouquet and the love bomb, plus the champagne Timbits. And I think that's pretty much an auto VIP. I don't know if it's going to let me do this. It usually makes me do this manually, but I'm at least going to try it. Torpedo Supermarket, you are now a VIP, sir. If it's not showing, I promise to make sure that I will do this. I'll even write it down here. So this gets accomplished. Torpedo Supermarket. That is a VIP, sir. Thank you very, very, very much. It's not normal, man. It ain't normal at all. It ain't normal, and especially if this is money that's going towards a charity, that's a huge, huge step up, man. That's a huge, huge step up. Really kind of you, man. And gift sub is getting higher. I appreciate the mods and the raiders. Yeah, man, cool. Chess Crab. Hey, how's it going, Chess Crab? That's a shout out. I do go a little over the top on the subs and stuff like that, but guys, like, that's a big deal. Like even in just like normal circumstances, like I don't have a regular job. I'm a chess teacher for a living, and if you want to check out my panels, you can check out my website, check out my YouTube, check out my merch store, all that different stuff. This is what I do for a living. Chess is my how I pay my rent. So every little bit helps. You know, you guys are helping towards, for example, it's the month of March. If I don't make $100 American, I can't cash out and I don't get any money from Twitch. So all of that money gets paid 45 days after the end of the month would roll over for another month. So I wouldn't get paid this money for 3-4 months. When you guys come in and leave these little gifts and stuff like that, and Torpedo Supermarket is just subscribed as well. Thank you so much, dude. That is awesome. I don't know if somebody gifted you that. I'm going to check that in a second. But when you guys make those donos and stuff, you're not only helping me to live a better life, and to continue to do what I'm doing. Like, I couldn't stream if I couldn't justify this amount of time and the expense of the electronics if you guys didn't do that. So even though it seems like something that's pretty normal, it's a big deal to me. It makes a big deal, and especially if this is money that's going towards a charitable cause. This is monstrous. This is massive, guys. So I really do appreciate that, dude. We're very This is not something that happens every day. The reason I have 115 viewers, Chess Crab, is because I had a raid from JJ, Last Samurai. So Grandmaster JJ gave me a huge raid of 268 people, which is freaking amazing. There's a handful of people. Blazero is one of them. Chess Crab is another one. Torpedo Supermarket, Face Chess, Chit Chat Chess, Cold Player, Jason Pierre Sweeney, Chess Coach, Abjugair. There's a handful of people who basically keep the lights on for this show. Though those are the people that pay the bills, man. So, you know, even though for them it might not seem as big of a deal as it is to me, you know, like that's beyond my means. But you know, there wouldn't be a show if it wasn't for those handful of people. So never want to give those people anything less than the full credit. Very cool, man. Very, very cool. Let's just see who did that. But please, guys, don't ask for subs in the chat though. Oh, you fucked up, but congrats! Wow. Oh, was that not your intention? Oh, the charity Chess Crab. It's I don't know the name. What you should do is go check out the Harlemknite show or check out Harlemknite's Discord. He's also on my Discord. I actually made the settings private, so I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to get on like this, but you can give it a try. Chess Crab, I think you're already on there. But Harlemknite is his wife has a condition that causes some inflammation in you know, I don't even want to get into it. I'll let him explain it because he's much more knowledgeable than me. But his wife has a condition that causes inflammation and pain, and it's something that they have to deal with all the time. Sometimes he has to cut his stream short, or sometimes he has to skip streams. We had a stream last week that we were supposed to do. It was our roundtable show. Actually, it was this week on Tuesday. And we were unable to do it because of he was taking care of his wife who had a flare-up. So it's a situation that affects her the most and affects him as well as the husband who takes care of her and stuff like that. And so he wanted to raise awareness of the illness and raise some money towards the charity to help them find a cure. So he's donating all of his money this month towards a charity that researches for a cure for this disease. And they've been incredibly brave to discuss it. And they're going to talk about it more. He's going to talk about it more as the month goes on. So as an act of solidarity, I've decided that tomorrow I'm going to do a show. I'm going to put it in my title, and I'm going to mention it like what I'm doing tonight. And we're going to, all the donos and all of these subs and all of the bits that I make that show are going to be donated to the same charity that Blaze or that Harlemknite is donating to. And I'm thinking I might donate the money from this show as well. And the reason I'm thinking of doing that is because I was afraid that people would come in, and it's exactly what's happened, that people would come in and drop a bunch of donos and then they might not be able to make it tomorrow, or they might not have the means to drop those subs again tomorrow. And had they known, they might have delayed for one day or whatever. So I don't want them to feel like they're left out, like they can't make that contribution to charity just because they didn't hear that announcement. So I might also donate the money from today's show as well, just so that everybody feels that. But for sure tomorrow, 100%, all of the donos and all of the bits and stuff will be donated. It's a condition, like, it causes the tissue that grows in your uterus, in a woman's uterus, to grow on the outside of the uterus, and it causes inflammation and pain and swelling. And it's just an unpleasant situation. It's one thing when you're dealing with a disease, but it's another thing when nobody knows what you're going through. That's an especially, helpless feeling, I think. So I think it's incredibly brave of them to bring that up and to raise some money. I see we have Ant-Man in the chat. Oh, is Ant-Man here? Sub misclick. Oh, wow. King Bishop is a chess teacher. Yeah, is King Bishop in the house? Did I miss King Bishop coming in here? Bertrand, I see you. Okay. Max is bad. There we go. It was a gift. Hey, Max is bad. Bless your heart. Thank you for that gift sub to Torpedo Supermarket. Very nice of you. That's 2 gift subs by Max. Max has been another guy that's made a lot of contributions. And if you guys didn't know, Max is bad is also like a 2,600 chess.com player. Just a phenomenal player. For how little chess has been played on this show, you guys have been amazing to me today. I'm thinking of getting a tourney going or play some chess or do something chess related to bless you guys for what you're doing here. Very, very kind of you. Specimen says, really, man, thanks. I'm happy you make it possible for me to actually support the stream, even if it's through you. That's cool. Yeah, Specimen, by the way, you know, like for Specimen, and there's a lot of people where they might not have the means to donate the bits and the subs, or they might be contributing to a lot of other chess shows, and I fully support that. So you know, just by hanging out with me, guys, and contributing, hanging out with the chat and following and following other streamers that I like as well, like Kaboozy, who I forgot to shout out. I don't know if you're still here, Kaboozy. But if you guys don't know Jacuzzi, he's one of my absolute favorite streamers. Just love this guy, and he's been great to the community. So when you follow me and you follow these guys and you contribute a positive vibe to the chess community, you are absolutely contributing to this stream. And I couldn't do it without every one of you guys. So never feel like you're not contributing. Driving and streaming, says Pretty Fly. Kibi says, I want to see Bertrout face. What, you can't see my face? I've seen your emotes in other channels, which is cool. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. No, I'm pretty lucky, man. I don't deserve the community. I really don't feel that I deserve the community that I have, but I've been very, very lucky to find such a wonderful community. It's a good chess community. There's the odd troll, but it's overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, King Goldman says, very sad to hear that about Harlem and stuff. Yeah, they're awesome people. You know, his wife is actually thinking about streaming at some point in time too. She's a big gamer, and they were both in you know, they're ex-vets and you know, serve their country, and they're just wonderful people. So, Japanese Tutor is in the house. What's up, man? By the way, when is your dono stream for Harlemknite? My mom saw you talking about the charity thing while I was watching it, and she wants to donate a random PayPal account she has. Oh, that's extremely kind. I'm going to do it tomorrow night. I would say it'll be maybe around 8 o'clock. Like, I've got a lesson. Let's see. I got a lesson at, 5:30, so 6:30 till 7:30. I would say about 8 o'clock. 8:30 p.m. I'll start my stream, and I'll go for a little while. I'll go for a few hours. I'll make it a good long stream. So we're talking 8 o'clock my time, and you guys are 16 hours ahead. So we're talking about 4 p.m. or so your time. 4:30 p.m. your time. And tell your mom that's very kind of her. I really do appreciate that. So it's going to be, 100% of all of the money that comes in is going to be donated to charity. What I will do is, we've worked it out. I'm going to donate all of the, I'm so far behind. Look at all these subs and stuff. You guys are freaking amazing. I think I'm just going to give the whole show's worth this show as well. I'm just going to give this whole show to Harlem as well. And just you guys are being such a blessing today. I'm losing my train of thought. You guys are being so good. Somebody's just given another gift bomb here. Yeah, just tune in tomorrow night, guys. But I think I'm just gonna donate this one as well, because it's just such a big show. I just want to show some solidarity. You know what I mean? And again, that's what I think. That's what I think charity means for me. It's not how much you give per se, because some of us have more and some of us have less, and not everybody has the means. And so even if some of you who don't have the means, you're still showing solidarity by being here. But that's what it is. It's a sacrifice of yourself, because you're saying, you know what, I've got things okay. I don't have to deal with what this other person is dealing with. I don't have this disease. So I can make a choice to make a sacrifice. This other person that's dealing with this disease, they don't have that choice. It's something they have to live with. And the people who care for them, their husbands, their children, their families, their co-workers, whatever, are also dealing with this illness in one way or another. And it affects them as well, the caregivers. So that's what charity is you give something small of yourself so that you can be a blessing to someone who doesn't have that choice. And So I think that's what we're going to do, guys. So I think what I'm going to do, and I'm going to get right into all of these. I'm missing so many gift subs. Somebody just dropped another bomb. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do, guys. Okay, now while I'm doing that, man, oh man, you guys are freaking awesome. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, guys. I'm going to catch right up. Don't leave. Whoever is dropping these bombs, please don't leave. Give me 1 second. I just want to pull up the name of this. I want to make sure I got the correct name. Give me 1 second, folks. I will be right back with you.